I am the first and the last. In the Old Testament. But then Jesus come behind and say, well, he's the first and the last too. You can't have two gods. He said, the Most High says, I'm the only God. There's none beside me. There's none even equal to me. There's none that is like me. There's none that you can compare to me. Why? Because I'm in a game all by myself. But my sister and brother, we can see right here in Isaiah, the 6th chapter, where they broke these two verses up in order to match it up to try to make it be what they want to be. But I'm going to show you that this is King David. I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I had taught about King David all down through our teaching. And I'm going to show you again tonight. Now, let's look at Amos 9. Let's go to Amos. Amos the 9th chapter. Let's go there. Now let's see what Amos says. See, because you have to see it. And believe it, my sisters and brothers, that they still are trying to keep it hid from us. You know why? Because they don't want you to know who you are. But I am here to inform you and let you know exactly who you are. Now, let's look at Amos 9, verse 11. It says, in that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David, that is fallen. Okay, past tense. All right? And will close up the breach thereof, and I will raise up his ruins. Now, in these new Bibles, where it says his ruins, they got it. Like he's going to raise up the ruins of the tabernacle. That makes no sense at all to me. At all to me. I mean, he already said that he's going to raise up the tabernacle of David, which is fallen. Why would you say then you're going to turn around and raise up the tabernacle ruins? Does that make any sense at all? Hell no. He's talking about King David. He's going to raise up his ruins, and I will build it as it was in the days of old. Now, my question is, where was Jesus when King David was king? Before he died? Where was Jesus? Jesus was nowhere on the scene. So we can clearly see that this is not talking about Jesus. Now, let's go to Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel real quick. Now watch it, my brothers and sisters. We're going to the book of Ezekiel. Let's get there. Ezekiel 37. Let's go there. Very familiar passage. We have talked about it on other occasions. Let's start with verse 21. And we can read it all the way down to 20. It says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and will bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore, the northern and the southern. He said, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and I will clean them, and clean them, so shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgment, and observe my statutes, and do them, and they shall dwell in the land that I gave unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. See that? Now where's Jesus? How can anybody say that Isaiah is talking about Jesus? It says, moreover, I will make my covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. And my tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. Now we see here that King David is going to be king over Israel, king over all of them forever. Ain't going to be their prince forever. Now, my question is, how could anyone think that Isaiah is talking about Jesus? The reason why is because they moved the scriptures around. They took part of 6 and put it down with part of 7, then took part of 7 and then put it, put it up there to the top, to the bottom of verse 6. But see, one would have to be used by the Most High in order to interpret those scriptures the way that I just showed you guys. Because there were so many people that were so afraid to challenge that, and I myself looked at it, contemplated with it for a very, very long time. But like I said, I can't teach it until the Most High showed it to me. And he showed it to me the other night. And now it's simple. You can see clearly that he's not talking about Jesus. And Jesus is not, and he's not saying that Jesus is the mighty God. He's talking about himself, not Jesus. And the government shall be upon whose shoulders? King David. And if you look down at verse 7 and read it, it explicitly tells you the throne of David, not the throne of Jesus. It's right in the pages, my sister and brother. But see, I know there's some that's going to try to argue. But the reason why they're going to try to argue is because they don't have any insight. They're trying to go on what they think up here in their head and what the white man has told them and other books and then all this whole other bullshit. And they're just as wrong as two left shoes. Now let's go a little further. We're going to show you some acts that God did with his children, and they were like gods. Now let's go to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus chapter 7. Let's go to Exodus chapter 7. Now watch this, my brothers and sisters. Watch this. I know these are scriptures that we talked about a long time ago, but I tell you, my brothers and sisters, we need to go over these scriptures over and over because God's word is continually revealing itself to us every time we go back and look at it. It's always something that he's showing us. Now let's look at chapter 7, verse 1. It says, And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron, thy brother, shall be thy prophet. See that? Now, why did God say that? Because if you read the story about Moses, the acts that he performed in Egypt, the only one that could do acts like that is a God. A normal individual could not do those acts that Moses did in Egypt unless God was involved in his life. That's why God gave him that rod. He said, "What's that in your hand?" It's a rod. Now, granted, the little magicians, they threw their rod down to and it turned into a serpent, but Moses' serpent ate up all those. But Moses used that rod all down through Egypt, tapping here and there, doing it, putting it down in the water, turning it to blood, and all these things, bringing frogs, flies, all these things. But who could do that but a God? But it's the acts. And see, when a person and see another person doing something that they know that a normal person couldn't do, they know that, hey, he has to be a God. Now, let's go a little further. Let's go to Joshua. Let's go to the book of Joshua. Joshua, the 10th chapter. Let us go there. My brothers and sisters, let us go there. Joshua, the 10th chapter. Okay. Joshua 10, let's look at verses 12, 13, and 14. Look what it says here. It says, At verse 12 it says, Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still, Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, till the people had avenged themselves upon their enemy. Is not this written in the book of Josiah? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and has not to go down, hasten not to go down, about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened to the voice of a man, For the Lord fought for Israel. See that? Made the world, this planet, stop turning on its own axis. Now you look at a person, you and I look at a person today, and they do that. Somebody came to this planet right now, and they did that. Most people say that has to be God, because they know a natural person couldn't do that. And like I say, these are acts that men, and that were Hebrew Israelites, that God chose to do things, and they did things that only a God could do. It boggles your mind to see an individual do something on that magnitude. It just blows your mind. Now, let's go a little further. Let's go to Judges. Let's keep on going. Let's go to Judges. Judges, the 15th chapter. Now, watch this, my brothers and sisters. Now, these are acts. Now, once I'm going to run down a few more acts, and then I'm going to just sit down and talk to you for a few minutes, and then I'm going to try to open up your mind and let you see what I'm seeing. Now, let's go here. Now, Judges 15. Let's look at Judges 15:15. Okay. All right. Now, let's look at 14:2. And when he came unto Leah, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the cause that he were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands loosened from off his hands, and he found a new jawbone of an ass. You see that? He found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand, and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. He didn't have a sword, nor a shield, nor a spear, but a jawbone of an ass. And he killed 1,000 men. Now my question, I'm gonna ask you something, Israel. Now you think about this right here. Now, all of these right here are men of God that God is using. Now, how many men did Jesus kill? Now remember, now he's the Son of God. How many people did Jesus kill? How many cities did